How does the safety position look at this point? We got a question coming in just asking about who might be the starting safeties from Jimmy.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really interesting. I think you've got Key Lawrence that is, I mean, he's not guaranteed a starting spot, but I would think he's pretty close to as as a guy that you can pencil in as a starter that Oklahoma has. He's a kid that moved around a little bit last year, right? Played a little bit of nickel, played a little bit of safety, played a little bit of corner towards the end of the season as well. So, but I think his most natural position is really kind of a strong safety perspective. So I think you'll see him as a starter. I think, honestly, Mark, I think the other safety spot is up for grabs. You got a kid like Bryson Washington who's played a lot of the ball for Oklahoma. Not really been into the mix at all, but he's been around quite a bit for Oklahoma. But I think a lot of people see the transfer from North Carolina, Trey Morrison, as a guy that probably will get that other safety spot for Oklahoma. Yeah, like I said, there'll be some other kids in the mix in terms of of what that safety position really looks like. Might move some kids around, but I think coming into it here on March 16th, I think that those two are the guys that you would see as right now as the two starters.
All right, very good. Don't necessarily see too many other questions, whether those be to the live chat here or from anybody else that's commented to the channel. And we get a ton of comments into the channel. Appreciate that, but nothing that we haven't covered in regards to the Sooners with spring practice starting in a week. So come on back next week. And we will do our best to preview spring practice, understanding everyone that with one or two practices in the books at that point, there will be nothing to talk about in regards to what happened on the field that we will know about. But we will have certainly much to talk about in the weeks following. And of course, previewing spring practice and what's most important. Jason ran down his offensive keys during spring ball this week. We'll look at the defense next week. And do we know of any big recruiting weekends? I know in dealing with other teams that they've certainly had recent recruiting weekends that were pretty important and some weekends upcoming. Anything for OU?
Yeah, I mean, not a ton in terms of just a big weekend, but I think the spring game is always going to be a big weekend um, for uh, for any teams. But I think particularly for Oklahoma, we've talked a little bit about the Overton brothers actually coming in for an official visit on April 23rd. I think that'll be something to keep an eye on. I think those are going to be two big gets for Oklahoma that, believe it or not, are still going to both of these kids would be part of the 2022 class. So which would be really good for. But I think as it gets closer, Mark, to that April 23rd date, we'll probably start to see some more recruits come in. What even if it's an unofficial, you'll start to see some of those kind of come in a little bit more and have a really good recruiting weekend there.